Good morning, C3 parents, and welcome to another installment of C3 Parenting. I'm your host, Karien Pitout, and I'm here today to chat with you about what's going on in South Africa regarding the COVID-19, the impact that it has with the school closures, and where we stand as a country. Now, down below you will find the WhatsApp number that you can contact our government, South African government, to get more information about COVID-19 itself. If you want some more academic information, I linked below a really awesome doctor, Dr. Mike. You can follow him on YouTube as well. And yes, he is based in the US, but the information that he gives about the virus, how long it lasts, the impact that it has on people, and those kind of bits and bobs of information that helps you understand this virus a little bit better, I would really recommend click down below and go there. So let's dive right into what's going on in South Africa at the moment. Today is the 17th of March 2020, so tomorrow on the 18th of March our schools will be closed. And that means the kids are going to be at home, which means there's a lot of intricate things that we need to work out as a country, as parents, and as family units. Now, one of the things that keeps on being punted at the moment by our government is homeschooling. Panyaza Lesufi, our Minister of Education in Gauteng, actually tweeted that people should start looking into homeschooling and get the right systems, and the government needs to step up to give the right support to homeschooling families. So here's the thing: before you rush out to go get curriculums and to go get box curriculums, there's something that you as a parent need to understand with a dynamic shift. First of all, let's talk about the current time period that the schools will be closed. If we look broader and across our borders and overseas, chances are that our schools will be closed for longer than the estimated 30 days. Which means the chances are that you as a family will have to look into homeschooling. But currently the schools are closing 2 days before the actual school holiday starts, and it opens up again a week after the school holiday starts. If you have matriculants or grade 11 pupils in your home, please encourage them to try and spend some time during this holiday going through their textbooks, reading up on the information that they will be writing exams on by the end of the year, so that they don't fall behind. For the other grades, please take a deep breath, relax, you've got this. So when we talk about homeschooling, and this is a really important step for most homeschoolers to make, is when you as a parent have to work outside of home, it means that your child, the educational or the academic educational part of your child's development is basically handed over to someone else, to the schools, to the teachers, and so forth. So in your child's relationship with you, it basically, there's a shift that they do not view you as the parent, as the person to give them academic educational information. So we need to restore that relationship. We need to reconnect, and we need to restore that relationship. A lot of recommendations that comes from the homeschool community is usually the first step you do when you take your child out of mainstream schooling is that reconnection phase, and we call that deschooling. That can take usually anything from a month to 3 months, depending on how your family dynamics work. So what we usually recommend, or what is usually recommended during homeschooling or during this deschooling phase, is not to stop the education, but to change the way that education actually happens in the home. So you put away all books, or at least all educational books that require studying, and you bring in self-study, you bring in self-research, you bring in topics of interest, and you do loads and loads of reading. And remember, reading fantasy books, reading any book is already a part of education. It develops language, it develops understanding of the world, and it actually stretches their imagination and helps them to start thinking creatively about the world they are actually engaged with. When we look at from an educational point of view regarding when you want to give them specific information to help them in future life is an education itself. They can learn to cook food, they can And there's maths in baking and cooking and measurements, and ask them to double a recipe or triple a recipe or half a recipe, and they actually have to use their math skills. So that's one of the methods that it's a natural way of learning. The other steps that some families have taken that has been very successful is during the deschooling period to actually go and ask them what is their real life questions. What is a topic or something that they've actually been puzzling about. It helps that we as parents just start off by 1 or 2 questions, not putting them in the spot of, oh, you have to think about this, but changing it from a perspective of, you know what, I myself have been wondering, what is the science behind the fact that an airplane is capable of flying? How did it work? Where did it start? We know that the Wright brothers were part of it, but what else? How does a heavy thing like a Boeing stay up in the air and don't just come plummeting down? How does it defy gravity in a sense? And we send them then on these little research processes. They've got 2 or 3 days to do as much research as they can about it, and then you as a family get back together, you do research as well, and you share and you trade information and you teach in that way. This way, you start creating a space in your child's mindset and within your own mindset that you can educate your child, and that your child can be educated by you, and that your child is capable of finding certain information. Obviously, the younger the child, the more work you as a parent are probably going to end up doing, getting that kind of information, teaching your child about that. But let's focus on topics of interest and things that interest your child. There is a variety of boxed curriculums that you can get as a homeschool family or for a homeschool family. I actually linked a couple of resources that is usually free education resources that I linked down below, so that you have some form of starting point. But remember, you don't have to right now at this very minute start to do homeschooling or home education with your child within this next 30 days, and the reason being is they are supposed to be on school holiday in any way. But you can use this as an opportunity to reconnect with your family. Lately, since the school closure has been announced, there's a lot of disparaging comments and remarks made towards children, where parents say they don't want to spend time with their kids, where there's one that did the rounds of maybe the school should, like, all the kids should go to the school and the parents won't have an issue to drop off the food at the school so the teachers can take care of the kids. And all of this is made tongue-in-cheek and as a joke. And unfortunately, our kids hear these jokes, and some of the kids that's on social media, they see these jokes, and their brain development actually prevents them from interpreting this as a joke. We as adults have the right brain development that helps us to put things in places and be able to understand how this impacts us, how it's only a joke and this person's not serious. But even when someone makes a disparaging joke like that about you, you as an adult do feel offish about it. You do feel offended. You do have negative emotions about it. And sometimes, because of our own traumas and our own feelings, we actually struggle to override it, and we start questioning whether this person actually meant what they said, because of the saying, many a true thing is said in jest. Our kids don't even have that rational ability to work through it and say, you know what, my mom or my dad was just joking. What they hear is, I am unwanted, I am unloved, I'm not valued, they don't want to spend time with me, I am not important to them, I am an annoyance, I don't belong here, I don't have a space that is mine, I don't have a home. And all those things is what they hear, and they internalize it, and it becomes part of the way that they view you and the way that they view the world. And this means it actually brings a break in your relationship with your child. So this break in your relationship with your child creates a space where you and your kid struggle to connect. And if we have to move to a space of home education, that disconnect makes it even so much more difficult to reach your child. So what's going to happen now, lots of families are having to create a home office space where you're going to have to work remotely. Your kids are going to be in that space. your house and is their home too, and it's their space too. There's a lot of adjustments that we're going to have to. Yes, it's going to be difficult in the beginning because you're not child fit. You're not used to having your kids around you the whole time. They will interrupt meetings. They will just bounce into the room and just start talking without knocking, and they can be a destructive force, or distracting force, not destructive, distracting force. So have grace for them. Do not shout at them for interrupting. Do not have a go at them for making contact with you. Rather, just step into it and say, you know what, I'm going to be with you now. I just need to finish up this meeting, and then I'll call you, and then we can have a conversation. You do not apologize for your kids being part of your life and being in that space. Every person that has a child has to deal with that. So what you can apologize for the interruption, but not the disruption. So do not make your children a victor for your anger, your frustration, and your worry and your concern. Try to shield them in the sense of be real about what's going on with the virus, with the adjustment. It is adjustment time period, and you all going to have to get used to occupying the same space at the same time for such a long period of time while everybody's trying to get everything done. So try to create space and grace for yourself and for them. And the more connected you are with them, the more you actually put effort into getting to know your child again, reconnecting with them and spending time with them, the more they're going to give you space to be able to do your work. Because remember, if you're working away from home, your kids are used to you. When you are home, they have free access to you. This is a change in pace. This is a change in paradigm for them as well. So have grace for that and have space for that. If you have any questions about homeschooling or anything else that I spoke about today, please feel free to comment below. Remember to subscribe, ring that bell so you get notifications for when we load videos. Down below there is resources, and stay kind, stay safe, and we'll get through this. Have a great day.